Oi, oi, good afternoon, evening, whenever you may or may not be watching this. Daryl and I like to talk horses. We like to put it out there so that you guys can see what we're saying. So we thought we'd record this afternoon's conversation. It's literally unplanned, impromptu. Well, he'd messaged me, so that's kind of planned. Whoever decided what we're going to talk about, we're just chatting horses. I mean, the introduction's only really going to go into the video if it makes the cut. So fingers crossed it's all right. How are you doing, Daz? Are you all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I only texted you because I just thought we'd just have a chat and a catch up, really. Fucking, did you see on that Bumpy Johnson?
I did, to be fair, I did watch it. I didn't see that you napped him today because I saw that it was running and I had a bit of a feeling you probably would.
Oh, mate, honestly, it was awful. It was really hard to watch. Do you know what I mean? It fucking makes you feel like shit when you put something up like that. I was really confident as well. I lost a few $100 on it. You know, I was quite confident on him running well. He just can't jump for shit, can he?
And I mean, we had a slight discussion beforehand, didn't we? And like you can't just judge a horse on like a single performance.
Oh yeah, the Hereford thing.
Yeah, like it's mental, isn't it? Like, because I like to be a snob, I talk about being great snob, don't I? Hereford, Wednesday, Pipe, like not saying like necessarily like ringing alarm bells, like it was never going to be anything bad, but I've been burnt the same as you've been done today with horses like that look like they're going to be. Well, they are, like he's clearly capable of doing something, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he was supported well enough. I mean, the winner finished in front of him in that Hereford race. Like the winner of that race finished in front, like half 11 in front of him. You should watch that Hereford race, mate.
Oh yeah, I have it back. Yeah, but I have watched that. That's the worrying thing, though, isn't it? He did everything wrong. He was the one to take out the race, and then on today's literal form, he's been spanked by the other one, hasn't he?
I just want to move on. It's just so frustrating, mate, when you put something up like that.
Nah. You see, you're looking at it the wrong way, mate. See, this is where me and you differ. I would not be saying he's one to just brush under the carpet. He'll be like a Del Arca. Give him 4 or 5 years, mate, and he'll spring up the season.
It's just I've got 4 or 5 years to coin it, mate.
The thing is, it's just with horses like that, when we see something in them when they're younger, there's finding an opportunity to back them in there. Sometimes, like you've done there, they've waited with this horse as well, haven't they, for the ideal conditions. Had a knock, didn't it, for his last run? So whether that's still had implications in it, I don't know. But you're right to pick these horses, and then we've seen something, dismiss him for the short term, but you know that at some point when he gets a mark, he's going in handicaps, whether it's a couple of seasons from now, he might start showing something again. You'll see him running in a race, and you'll start thinking to yourself, I know this horse is better than his mark. Or
yeah, he's just got to be put on the back burner for now. He's far too raw.
But that's the thankless task of your El Napo, isn't it? Because you take a bit of a punt on ones like this because you feel like there is potential for something to be in there. Like, I know obviously the result didn't come out of that, and it's all well and good talking hindsight, but he's the sort of horse that if he'd have battled it out like the winner ended up doing, all of a sudden people talk about this as a nice prospect going forward, all that sort of thing. So you take a bit of a punt in this, didn't you? But it's priced accordingly, isn't it? Like you say, they supported it. You weren't the only one that thought it. Don't matter.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it? Oh well. Okay. I backed a horse in running at Doncaster 16-1 earlier. It was just caught the eye from the get-go. It was just always travelling the best, and they were offering 16-1 on it. I thought, what the
winner?
Yeah, host up.
Yes.
Get
16 the gloats in early.
16, and then I went in again. Zalvados SP'd at 18-1. 16, I went again at 6. It just absolutely hosed up. Some of these horses, you can see them a mile off. And I'm not even on the software. I'm talking just on the exchange. Like they're still, some of them don't react quick enough in these chase races. You know, if you can pick one that's travelling quite well, a mile off, you can back it to lay it or back it to win. It's definitely worth doing by the time they react.
Yeah, well, the good old days when I used to go on course doing the in-running stuff with the mobile phone, we could only fit 6 horses in our list. So if me and the guy I was working with didn't have all the horses in there, you could get something that was travelling. We could switch out the runners. You'd have to send a message to the boys in the office. But I'm guessing with software now, people have got something for every single horse. But you never know. Ones like that, it might just be that no one else was thinking it had a chance and they've all left it. That's why you get to hoover it up.
Yeah. So
that's not like much
coming back. Got one more to run.
Is it because Cheltenham's been abandoned that you're playing about with the exchanges?
Well, yeah, and the fact that
Bumpy.
no, because it was before Bumpy. No, sometimes I do just have a little play around on the exchanges. Like it's because we've done the GG preview this morning.
Yeah.
And so basically my Saturday column was done and dusted. My Saturday Nat project is all done and dusted by so we did the preview at 9 and lasted about 10. So from about 10 to 11, it took me an hour because I had done all the work on a Thursday, whereas normally I would do. So Saturday, tomorrow I would normally do all Saturday's work and stay on a Friday. And then tomorrow I would do all Sunday's work. So it's like a rolling 7-day thing. But when it comes to doing a preview, I've got to do the work for the preview anyway. So it sort of works itself on a Friday. So I sort of Friday afternoons do sort of find myself playing on the exchanges a little bit, just like in running. But yeah, it's crazy. Doncaster in the 2:37 talking about you.
So that'll be going off as a recording, won't it? So we'll get to see a live reaction from Daryl Carter.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit suspicious of it because this horse won. This horse on a full-timer won a listed race time before last. Beat there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 runners in the race. It's beaten 3 of them already, and convincingly beat them. And it's second favourite 5 and 2. They've got Nicky Henderson, a horse in the market called Progressive. And I'm just, it's one of those. Like sometimes you get these horses that you think are priced a little bit too big, and you can't quite work out why they're that priced, and they end up going to get spanked. So I'm a little bit dubious about this.
Well, that Progressive, that was your pals at Oddschecker, Ollie Bell and Charlie Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Progressive. Austin, yeah. He's the first one. They got a double over the weekend, didn't they? Friday, Saturday with Sky Bet. Progressive's the first one in there. So we'll soon find it.
Yeah.
Well, your GG thing you just touched on there with your Oddschecker app. Obviously, I'm not going to get you to say your app out loud because people can go onto Oddschecker app and see that. Your GG thing, is that already uploaded on YouTube?
Yes, it's already on YouTube, yeah.
I'll stick a card up in this video so people can click it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though, it's not my finest hour of speaking, Dave. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was because it was 9 o'clock in the morning, but I couldn't get my words out today. I was mumbling and stumbling. I did 6 hours of prep for that yesterday, and then this morning I just went, oh, it'll just win.
Precious the time, isn't it, mate? Don't worry about it. The thing is, you get shot down whichever way you do it, didn't you? You make a good case for something, you'll get told off because it was the wrong price. Make a bad case for something, someone will pull it out because you look like a clown. Better to say nothing, isn't it?
You're talking about last week, aren't you? About Roxana. No, you want to bring it up.
But forget all that sort of stuff, mate. You know what that world's like, that side of things. People just like to hate, don't they? If people don't want to hear it, then don't watch it, don't listen to it.
What are you doing this afternoon anyway?
Got some actual work to finish up with, so hopefully none of the people that I work with subscribe to the channel. Hopefully not. But yeah, got some of that to do. Carry on with that a bit later on. Quietish weekend. Yeah, quietish weekend as well. Not too much like running or cycling this weekend. So with Chelsea being off, I've started already this week to look at the Dublin Race Festival because we've had all the entries up for them. So I'm going through them race by race, getting some write-ups for some of the horses. Tomorrow I'll probably just be quite lazy. I think I need to watch Shishkin's race. Other than that, I'm just going to swerve the race until Sunday. And then I want to watch that beginner's chase on Sunday that Pencil for the leads in. And he's given £8 to that at Clay de Rear. I just want to see between the two of them what looks quite good.
Sorry, I'm just writing up. So from next Tuesday for GG, I've got 17 previews to do for Cheltenham. So I've just started writing up the Ryanair.
I'll give you the answer to the Ryanair's the one race every single year. You might as well just wait till like the week before. I always say it.
I told you Min last year, right? I told you Min last year that will finally get his Cheltenham win. Guess who's going to finally get their Cheltenham win this year?
Hello.
Mellon.
I've genuinely think Mellon goes Gold Cup still.
No. Surely not. Not after that run in the Irish.
He finished third. At a track he's better at Cheltenham, isn't he? The thing is, I reckon they found out enough about him that day to say that like it's not a foregone conclusion that he won't stay. Not like how far back like Allo and like Samco and stuff were. Like the Ryanair seems the logical race for him, doesn't it? I mean, Mellon. But you look at Willie Mullins' entries, and you got obviously Alaho in there. You got Min. Tornado Fly is going to slot in somewhere, although he's probably not good enough. Easy Games up in there. Then you look towards the Gold Cup stuff. Album Photo needs some backup, doesn't
he? Yeah, maybe. But
what price is he?
I see what you're saying. He's got about 5 horses he can throw at the Ryanair, but
what price is Mellon? I don't know bet.
I don't know, only about 8 to 10 to 1 or something.
Exactly. So this is again where you like. I reckon even if it got to the day, he'd still be like 6, 7, 8 to 1, wouldn't he? If he does end up going there.
Yeah, I wonder what's going on with Sam Crow. You heard anything about him?
No, the best thing I've seen though is that because obviously we're supposed to be a champion hurdler, wasn't he? And we can let's forgive him that season because they said he had the lung issues, and obviously he's come out and won a festival race since then, albeit over further. His entry at Dublin Racing Festival, they obviously tried him over 3 miles, didn't they? It didn't work out. They've got him entered up again in the Irish Gold Cup, but they've also got him in the Ladbrokes Dublin Chase back at 2 mile 1. So the fact that we're talking about him as a champion hurdler, I'd love to see him going against Chacun because we've seen how weak the rest of the division is.
Yeah.
Like they could run him in that race. If he can't get anywhere near Chacun then you stick him in the Ryanair come March. If he gets within a couple of lengths of Chacun at any point makes him look like it, we know he's got the Cheltenham form. I'd be proper interested if they ran him in that Dublin Chase. Not that I think he would beat Chacun Poursoir, but they're not. I don't really see what they're going to achieve by sticking him in the Gold Cup. They've seen him run over 3 miles last time and it didn't work.
Yeah, but like he might just be one of these horses that comes alive in the spring.
Correct, but he's like it's absurd, isn't it? The stupid little lines are going with it, but he's like a monster price for the Champion Chase. So if when it comes to the Dublin Racing Festival, when the entries come out, that'll be next Thursday. We'll find out about him. That's exactly what I do every year with Dublin Racing Festival. Do it with the Newbury Super Saturday as well. When you see the declarations coming at like 10 o'clock by that festival racing Andrew bloke on Tweeder, just get on the odd odds checker and just start banging a few non-run and no bet ones in just because they're entered in certain races. So yeah, Sam Crow's definitely on the list for that. 50s he is Champion Chase.
Yeah, we just jumped the second last, I think, babe.
You win him?
I think it's me against Progressive. Well, I know it's me against Progressive.
You versus Charlie.
I'm hoping we've got the sharper turn of foot over the last. Down tools. I've seen this horse down tools before.
Oh, it's tense. I should be watching at the same time, but I'd rather look at Cheltenham horses. Thanks, Schwab.
Go on, girl. Oh, no. Pick up. There you go. Go on. Go on, girl. Go on, girl. Stay on strongest. 4-timer. Go on. Oh, you. Go on. Push her out. Push her out, son. Push her out. She's been done. She's just been done. Not by Progressive. Progressive's been well beat back in the 4th. But she's been done by a horse that she trounced by 7 lengths last time out in a listed race.
Women, mate.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. Like she... It's a dodgy price, isn't it? Sometimes when, you see posts like that, you think... I don't know. A bit suspect, that's all.
Crossbar. You beat Studs up, though, so... I didn't want
to say it beforehand, but that Progressive was not going to win.
I'm going to crop this and put it on Twitter. Tag Charlie Austin.
No good with my horse losers, is it?
I tell you what, when you mentioned Sam Crow there, because obviously we dived into the Cheltenham stuff, Gigginstown mentioned it in our little chat earlier when our mate was talking about some horses. We were talking about festival-y stuff and where horses are going. Gigginstown are like gone now, aren't they? And I know they're winding up things, but this feels like this is the start of us realising that Gigginstown are like no longer with us. Because I know Easy Work passed away, but coming into the Cheltenham Festival, they've got like nothing that's fancy to win a race. I know they might have some chances in handicaps, but dire, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a little knob as well. He's just messaged me and said he's just messaged both of us. Said Kings has done well to reverse that form, and he does.
Oh, what? Because he knows you back.
Yeah, he fucking has done well. Of course, he's done well to reverse that 7-11 form.
Women, innit? There's certain ones you've got to stay away with, isn't there? See, that's the thing. You obviously punt more than me on like a daily basis anyway. you were messaging the other day what you said, like you feel a bit flat about this season with lots of like abandonments and even the quality of racing, I suppose. I guess I thought about it a little bit because at the time I was just like, it doesn't really feel that much different to me. But I've had significantly less like weekend bets or weekly bets this year than I've done on previous years. Like I'm talking like a third of the amount that I've normally had by now. But Cheltenham anti-post stuff's pretty much the same line as it always is. So it probably has been a bit fluffy this season, but all the big stuff still looks good. And it's because you fanny about in all these class 5s and ladies races.
I ain't got a choice, mate. I'm a content provider, son. I have to provide content,
but
whether I like it or not.
But that's the worst thing, isn't it? When these abandonments come out, like it's annoying for average Joe because, oh, well, don't get to bet this weekend. When they're not rescheduled, it's annoying for average Joe as well. Or sometimes when they are rescheduled and they miss the handicaps, but they might put on the graded races, people get annoyed, don't they? But for someone like you that has to just do it on like it's your work essentially. It's all well and good saying, oh, you can take a bit of a break. But I bet you've had some bets lined up, haven't you, that have not run. And it might have saved you some money.
No, it hasn't. Like this month for me has been the worst month I've had since last June doing this full time. It's been the worst month I've had. And this is not like, I'm not making excuses because I don't believe in excuses. You know, I need to be working harder. Obviously, something's not right. But the amount of times that I've had naps lined up and sent over to Oddschecker, right? Or I've had bets lined up for GG sent over, right? And then the meeting has been abandoned is unbelievable. I mean, this month, I've probably had at least 9 or 10 times where I've had to replace my nap because my original selection, and then all of a sudden you're under a little bit of pressure just to find something that's going to perhaps win. You get what I mean? And not just that, but for the GG-Con as well, like the other week, I had 3 fancies all at one meeting. That meeting was abandoned first thing in the morning. So I literally woke up and see that it was abandoned because obviously sent them in the day before. I woke up and see it was abandoned. Then I've had to go and find something else. And then you're left with like Southall class 5 races, or you're left with like Lingfield. Now, not necessarily I'm going to go and back those that day. I probably wouldn't have a bet that day, but I've still got to try and provide some content because, you know, that's how they make money, by getting people to click on my stuff and that who are interested in my stuff. So it has really been a frustrating month. I mean, you only got to look at like Andy Holding, for instance. He's minus 28 points or whatever this month. Like, there's just been deep ground everywhere. That's all we've had is heavy ground, absolutely everywhere. And just meetings cancelled left, right, and centre. You're having to change your mind at the last minute. You're having to, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating as hell. I'm hoping it's going to pick back up. I hit this massive dip this month, and then I keep coming back out, and then dropping back down, and coming back out and dropping back down. I can't seem to get my head above water, really.
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. There's no excuses for it. Like yesterday, I had a sizable bet on that Sheldon at Fakenham. I really like that horse. I think he's quite talented, and I had a massive bet on him. But like, he's another one. Like he had 3 entries before that. Was due to run 3 times before that, and they were all abandoned. So they had to run him at Fakenham. I knew the fucking track was probably not going to suit him because it suits very few horses, Fakenham, where it's so sharp. And the deep ground on that track, and he looks to be like held up slightly off the pace. It favours prominent runners. Everything went wrong for him. He managed, you know, his class got him through. So I think he's a half decent horse. He's at least a 135 rated horse. I know that's not good for you, but he's at least 135 rated. And yeah, it's just he luckily like scraped over the line. But he's one of the horses that I would have like on a more conventional track, like when he was entered two meetings ago, he would have hosed up. Do you know what I mean? So there are positives and negatives to take from it. You can take a positive from that in terms of, well, hopefully he'll be a better price next time because he's only just got his head in front of him. Really, it was much better than the result.
Yeah.
But it's draining, mate. It's very difficult. Like, we're getting meetings banned today for like Tuesday.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
It's ludicrous.
It's better to have the advance notice though, isn't it, rather than doing the work. And especially with like Cheltenham this weekend. We were going to do something this week, weren't we, for it? But we knew that it wasn't going to be on. And I prefer that, like, I know I don't want to say it's different for different race courses because it should just be the same rules. You should only run if it's like safe and it's like the best conditions. But, well, maybe the best conditions is the wrong way to phrase it. But something like Cheltenham there, like the ground was so bad, like, and you could see it from the actual entries, couldn't you? Like the Juvenile had 4 entered, and that was before we even saw what the ground was like. Potentially something can be pulled out. This is just horses that are running in a grade 2 at Cheltenham, so they can say they've had a horse that's run at Cheltenham. It's ridiculous, and when the quality starts to dip that far down, as much as it's nice and it's Cheltenham Trials Day and it's an important fixture, if the ground is literally so bad that they're going to be dotting off fences, there's going to be standing water, we're not going to learn anything, and you're just going to get fluke results. I'm disappointed it hasn't gone ahead though, because I thought time flies by. When he was in his bumpers, that was the same like last year, wasn't it? He was literally standing water, was just swimming around the track, and he loved it. So that's semi-annoying for that. But you're literally looking for trivial things, I think, when the racing and the meetings get that bad. And then obviously people talk about rescheduling it as well next week. We haven't even had the worst of the weather yet, Cheltenham, have we?
And they normally get it in February, mid to late February, don't they, before the festival?
Yeah, but even for this current moment, like they're getting more rain, they're getting snow over the weekend, there's rain next week. The rescheduling of it, I know it's annoying that some races will be like missed, but
well, the thing is, you've got absolutely no chance at the festival anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
And I know they do it over in Ireland where they move things. The Irish Racing Board have got a slightly different approach to it, I guess. But I'm never that desperate to see. Like if it was the actual Cheltenham Festival, it's different in it because that's like season-long targets. I know some of the races here might have been like long-term targets, but I feel like there's probably enough races out there for different horses to go in there. Nicky Henderson would disagree, wouldn't he? But
God, wouldn't he? Christ, what's up with him?
Do you know what?
You've got to get careful with say it. But
I think, honestly, he's like top trolling now. I reckon he's finally understood what's going on, and he's entering horses. He's making comments just to kick it off. It's advertising for the racing, isn't it? I don't understand how people get so wound up about it. At the beginning of the week, when he mentioned about not running Santini because the ground's so bad and everyone's slagging him off, the meeting's bloody abandoned. That's how bad the ground is. Because Nicky Henderson said it, Nicky Henderson's scared of running his horses.
He probably knew the meeting wasn't going to go ahead, but declared him just as a bit of a laugh.
But that's it. And other trainers don't need to say that, do they? Like Espoir de Romney, the one that you like, or Espoir de Romney, that's not running this weekend, is it? Again, because the ground's potentially that bad. And I don't want to be rude to the other horses, but when Nicky Henderson didn't run Altior and he ran all those other horses, and we saw how crap they all ran that weekend, he get odds on shots beat. I just kept saying he didn't. I just feel sorry for the other owners, because if the ground's that bad, you're worried about your decent horses. You shouldn't be saying that your other horses are not good enough, that it doesn't matter if they run on dead ground. It should be blanket rule, shouldn't it? And I know the horses handle different conditions, but like you were saying with Santini, he's got loads of form on bad ground, isn't he?
But he's got, it's not just this year though, he's got previous of doing it.
Oh, yeah,
he's as bad as with Jefferson with waiting patiently. He really is.
Not as bad as that, but I'm not honest. I reckon it's got to be top trolling, because nobody could be being serious the way that he's doing it now. Banter, innit?
Mate, it's crazy. It's crazy, but this year's been a bit flat, mate. I know it's a negative vibe and it's a negative vibe. Give off. I don't like doing that, but.
No, but it is what it is. And it's learning curve for you as well, massively, in the fact that you were punting on the side of work and doing well out of it. You're punting now without working, which means you're engrossing yourself in it more, and you're having to just literally live it and go through it. Or anybody else out there that does it, that makes a living out of it, you don't just one day just start doing it and not experience all the peaks and flows. You can't practice for the situation of it being your sole income. And as much as I like making a bit of money on the side, it's the scary thought in it. If you take the plunge of doing something different, it's bound to affect your judgment to a certain degree and make you think things differently. But then in like 5 or 10 years' time, you'll be glad you've had periods like this, because you might decide, do you know, when the weather gets this bad, don't care about reproducing stuff for people. I'm just going to like sit out, not have any bets, or you might decide in a couple of years' time, oh no, it's better that I did do things through there. Like you could have made a killing for all of this stuff, but you don't know until you try, do you? And you could pay.
To be honest, the punting's not been the issue. It's just been a bloody tipping that's been the bloody issue.
But again, it's all learning curve for the future, isn't it? Because if you get to the point that you realise that, because you're not the sort of person that would ever tip a horse to someone and not have any money on it yourself. So and then that's where it starts to dribble in, doesn't it? Like if the racing's so bad, like I don't mind missing a winner anymore. I used to be annoyed. I'd make sure I looked at every race, every runner, just to make sure I didn't miss stuff. I do obviously miss some every now and again, but I don't care as much anymore. But then I'm more geared towards the spring festivals and hopefully having some chunkier bets on there. I like to still pick some stuff up during the season. Cocoa Beach yesterday was a hilarious one that I missed.
Yeah, the thing is though, is I don't like. I'm looking ahead to Cheltenham this year. Like last year and the year before, I had some seriously strong opinions. Whereas this year, it's not. I've not got that many strong opinions this year. Like even
yeah, but the thing is, mate, there is obviously the big difference between this year and last year. I think is that like I feel like if you ask people's opinions for what they fancy at the festival 6-7 months ago, we would have had like a handle on a few races. And I don't think that's particularly changed now. Like everyone would have said Shishkin, everyone would have said Envoy. Even for the RSA, although Monkfish was like double figure price, the majority of people would have fancied that. Even down to the Ballymore, people were tipping that Bob Ollinger up a long way out. Supreme's obviously gone a bit pants in it. Albert Bartley always needs to leave a little bit later. Like I say, Ryanair gets nearer the time. Champion Chase has fallen a little bit, but again, Champion Hurdle, you'd have fancied Epitaph, that's still the same. You quite
not as strong as I did. Not as strong as I did. Like I'm looking at Sharjah. I'm thinking if Sharjah was ridden a little bit closer to the pace last year, you know, the circuit time suggests that he would have been there or thereabouts. I was so impressed with her at the festival last year. It was, but then she comes out and does that at Kempton. It frustrates me, and then
women, isn't it?
I don't know. And then I'm looking at Silver Streak. I'm thinking if the ground comes up on the better side of good, which it won't, it'll be soft ground, no doubt. You know, then I'm looking at him thinking he's improved this year. I don't know. I've been caught between a couple of places this year, right? And a couple of them is I've been trying to be too clever. So I'm like a hipster, if you like, yeah, if that's what they're called. So like you'll say, oh, that horse is really good, he's got a great chance, right? I will then deliberately go out of my way to go and find reasons to get that horse beat, right? Yeah. And sometimes it's not just you, obviously, like with everyone, but like sometimes it's a blessing because you're not looking at the obvious.
Yeah.
Other times you're missing the obvious horse. So like today, for instance, like for the odds checking that, I could have easily gone and put up Ibello at Doncaster, 6-4 shot, should have won. He did win. He won well. You know, it was an easy option, and I just don't like doing it. I don't know why. I can't bring myself to like put up these easy options because I feel like when you used to say before, I feel like if you put that up and it wins, you're a genius. But if you put that up and it loses, you look more of an idiot for putting that up than you do. So like I tend to try and push myself to think outside of the box all of the time. And sometimes it's not a great day. Like you'll see a day where loads of favourites win. Everybody all over Twitter, for instance, will be like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm thinking, why didn't I just fucking pick or back or hit? These obvious, you know, and it's just, it can be frustrating as hell some days. Well, yeah, especially when it happens on Saturday.
Yeah, and that is just the way that it is, isn't it? And that's why I love the spring festivals. Obviously, mostly Cheltenham, but it's not even just all about Cheltenham. That just obviously is the biggest one because you've got 28 races there, where you are right to take some favs on, aren't you? But again, the balmy thing about the fav stuff is we've mentioned this before. You even brought it up to me last time we spoke, I think. When it gets to this point, come like the festival, ideally. You want to be on the favs because that means you've done the right thing. Because back in anti-post, you'd have been on the bigger prices, wouldn't you? But obviously, it depends when people jump in on it, did it? Like straight after the festival last year, I've seen like 7-1 on Altior. I mean, Shishkin that people got. It's like 6-1 on Envoy. They were like right early on. Monkfish, I think, was 10s or 12s. He was available at that price like fairly late up in the season, to be fair. But if someone's coming into the racing now, like most people are going to look to try and take. Or try and look for something else in those couple of races, aren't they? Because they think they're probably a little bit too short. But then there'll be other people that might come in at this point and just forget about the anti-post stuff. Just look on the bare form of it and say, you can get the best part of 3-1 on Envoy Shishkin double. Just lump it up. Yeah. Whereas because we know that you could have got a bigger price at the beginning of the season, it makes you feel a little bit like, it's like, is it still good value or were you better to get on it before? Who knows? It's the beauty of it,
No,
isn't it?
and that's down to personal preference anyway. But like when you're tipping, right, you could have been punting Shishkin, you could have been punting Envoy, and you could have done all the right things, and you get to like a premium or something, and people are going, you're just tipping favourites. You're just tipping favourites, and you think, yeah, but I've been on this horse since it was 6-7-1. Just because it's now favourite doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you who I think's most likely winner. Like, you know, there's different.
But that's the hard thing with it, isn't it? And obviously the value side of it is all down to perception. And when you talk about this stuff, we try and get the case across, don't we? Of like that anyone could say it, couldn't they? Envoy's going to win the Marsh, but these are the things that I think are positives about him, or these are the things that I think are negatives. And what you might say is a negative, other people disagree. Other people might even look at it as a positive, depending on the way you spin it. But that's it. It's all a game of opinions, isn't it? Until we get there. But you definitely reach the point where, like you're saying there, sometimes we just try and take these ones on. But we're not just trying to take them on because we're saying they're going to get beat or we're stubborn. Although it comes across like that sometimes, doesn't it? And then people just get slaughtered for it. Like Matey Boy that put that one up, saying that Envoy is not a machine. Anything that comes out of the Racing Post or a tabloid like that, it's like 90% of it's clickbait.
Of course it is.
So they'll add that little line in there about it. But to be honest with you, like I said it on my thing a couple of weeks ago on the Anthony Up thing, and got a bit of abuse from someone. Well, not abuse, more conversing, but then didn't really turn into like a to and fro and listening. It was just sort of one-sided. But like based on the bare form of what he's done up to now, he isn't like an absolute worldie because he hasn't had to beat anything of any like serious substance. But then you'd say the same about most horses when they're novices. Like there's only so much they can beat. Like look at Valtour when he won the Supreme and then he goes and wins a JLT. And then he went to the Ryanair, didn't he? And he was only 90% then apparently for Willie Mullins, otherwise they would have gone Gold Cup. And you could still get like even money about him in a Ryanair.
90%.
But I know, but like that, when they get to that sort of point, you're still basing it on their novice stuff. But once they've then achieved that sort of status and they've done it for a long period, obviously it's nice. It's like it is still essentially after timing, but you can't go someone saying something, can you?
Yeah, the one thing with Envoy is I just want to see him get into a battle.
Snap. Probably won't ever will he? The best thing is when a Nergamene's going to go Marsh.
You reckon?
I'm not. I wouldn't be like I can't be 100% about anything, but I just look at everything. His runs have come on bad ground, and it depends how the festival comes up. If we get a good to soft festival, there's no like taking on Envoy or taking on Shishkin. Like I don't see which one is particularly an easier option. I think they're of equal measure, so they've got to go with the best chances for that particular horse. And the Nergamene, I think, wants further.
They always thought he wanted further as well. There was whispers about the RSA before that run.
Exactly, and like we'll see. Like, Dublin Racing Festival will be interesting because if Willie Mullins has got unaccepted back, then again we'll get some sort of yardstick for it. But you think of everyone getting so excited about a Nergamene, especially after his last run where he beat, I want to say Captain Guinness. Maybe it was, beat someone, didn't he? And Blackbow was miles behind. Everyone was getting excited, like, whoa, this wins the Arkle, this wins the Arkle, this wins the Arkle, like taking on Shishkin. If he went to the Marsh, those same people that were saying that would be like, no, nothing's going to beat Envoy.
Yeah, I know.
Because they've all got this thing about Envoy that, like, if you anything that's against Envoy can't be any good.
Here, are you seeing this drift on Flint and Sacra?
Oh yeah, it runs today, doesn't it?
You've run in a minute. We should watch it.
I should get it up, shouldn't I? It's 10 past, isn't it? Oh, that'll be the end of our chat, mate. Because I've got a bit of business to sort out after this, but we'll watch it. Hood on, innit? Look, before this race, then, because obviously this will go out, and then we won't even see the result of it. There is nothing of any substance in this race at all, is there?
Well, I don't know. They seem to like this Jack Sharp. I haven't watched it. I didn't go through this race. I haven't looked into it too deeply, so I wouldn't know. I'll have a look at it after the result if it's worth looking at. Because if Splinter Sacra comes 6th or 7th or something, well, you know what I mean? 21 wins it.
That Lincariblo, I can't even say it. Tom Lacey was a bumper horse a couple of years ago, was really impressive in its bumper, and then it missed all of last season. Then it came out and won on debut, and it beat that Jack Sharp like 5 and a bit lengths in front of it. And then it come out and got beat after both those runs at Doncaster, and that's like a 130 horse. So I suppose on like, if you just say literal, and then the fact that horse showed like it was going to improve for its first run, you'd say that potentially that Jack Sharp could be like bordering on a 130 horse. But I don't like doing that. I don't like particularly basing what a horse is capable of on the fact that it got beaten by something, even if it has shown something in there. It's the drift that worries you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it always is. He always seems to drift. Like I'll put him in the thingy hacked up notebook because I thought I saw something in him potential wise, but you go through his form, he's done nothing.
But the last one at Newbury, to be fair to him, like your Darling race, they were both keen, and I still think he got beaten by a good horse there. The Kempton run, got it done, didn't he? And he was quite calm there. But the Newbury race, did everything wrong. There was no pace in it at all, was there? So as much as it, I agree with you, hasn't done enough to be being classed as a worldie or anything, or people even to be thinking about him for a supreme horse. If things go his way today and he does settle, I'd be very disappointed if he wasn't better than all of these. But you'd have to just wait and see how he is. This drift that's coming in now, you never know. On course, he could be.
He's back into tables.
But he could be kicking off at the track, couldn't he? Which is why he's drifting out. Who knows?
He's come back in a little bit, 2.12 and even on the sportsbook. So
anyway, I think it's a win. We're nearly at the end of our time slot, Dazzler, because I've got stuff to get on with. I will share the link for your GG things. People can have already clicked on that if you want. But if anyone's mugged themselves off and stayed on for this long, is there anything over the weekend that you'd like to share with people without them going elsewhere?
Yeah, back Marie's Rock at Doncaster tomorrow. That's going to absolutely hack up tomorrow. And she's around 33s for the mare's hurdle. And she's got tons and tons of potential. The hood goes on tomorrow. Tongue tie first time. She's second run up to the wind up. Nothing went right at Newbury for her. She made a massive mistake 5 out. Massive mistake 3 out. Ducked right at 2 out. And then was just eased off, but she'd been off a very long time. That was behind Floressa. Floressa doesn't like soft ground, so I can't have her winning tomorrow. And then you're looking at the likes of Rainer's World and Irish Rose in there, runs well at Doncaster, should be there or thereabouts. But if she's been beaten by Irish Rose in that tomorrow, then you might as well forget her. I think she's much, much better than them. She's around 5-2. She's not even fab. Floressa's fab on ground she doesn't like. And Nico has chosen Floressa. Tom Cannon rides.
We like Tom Nicky Henderson horses now, don't we, after Craig Lynch?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, so Marie's Rock would be the one that I'd say back. The odds checker Nat tomorrow is quite a good one, I think. I've written about 450 words on a 12-1 shot, so make sure you check that out.
Anything that's 400 words plus from yours has gone in. 100% strike rate from the odds checker write-ups, I believe, so that'll be good. Decent. Yeah, well, I quite like Marie's Rock before. She didn't actually even get the entry for the mare's hurdle, so whoever's quoting on her there is scandalous. No, they said they're going to stay at 2 miles with her now, and she hasn't even got the entry for the mares because I put her up on Anti Up at 25s for it before she ran at Newbury and she jumped like a table.
She's got the entry for a champion hurdle?
Yes.
Because I backed her at 100 to 1 for that.
Not even half the time, is it?
No, I backed her at 100 to 1 for that. So, yeah, if she hasn't got the mares, then have a look at the champion hurdle. Look, that champion hurdle is crying out for a superstar. She goes and absolutely looks really impressive tomorrow. I mean, she's still probably going to be a 16-1 shot, but
worth a poke, isn't it?
It's worth a little try. She could do